Welcome back, everybody. Vance Palm, Francis Mayer, the Sports Information Director for Bakersfield College, and of course, he hosts his own show on Bakersfield.com. And he is somewhat the guru of BC vibrations on home games for all sports, but most specifically for football. Francis, great to have you here tonight, Francis. Let's just jump right into it. Your first half thoughts of the Renegades trailing 17-7.
I think it's difficult, but I'm excited on the one hand, and I wrote about this on GoGades.com back in August, that I thought Dalton Gallis was the wild card out of the four quarterbacks that were being really featured or giving good looks in camp. Tarek Yagi, more of a pocket passer. Noah Hawley, who I'm a big fan of, also a pocket passer. And then you got the Kingsburg cannon. Brandon Steele, he's got a huge arm, but maybe not the same multi-dimensional play that we could get from the first two. And then you've got Dalton Gallis, who was a Central Section Division V player for the Kern River Bronx. And he was incredible. He was a great athlete in all three sports that he played in. He had a 500 average playing baseball his senior season. And more interestingly, he had at least 20 steals, I believe, in each of the 4 seasons he played varsity baseball in high school. Wow. He was only caught once each season. So here's a guy who is a well-rounded athlete. He took him into the playoffs in basketball. He was great in football. And he's no stranger to adversity or being the new kid in town. He said when he first showed up at Kern River Valley, there was a little bit of consternation between some of the seniors who were like, why is this young guy challenging us for playing time? Mm-hmm. And he had come from Los Angeles, actually, and he says the Kern River Valley is very beautiful, but it's very different than playing sports down in the Southland. He wanted a higher level of competition. I remember talking to him during our first home game. He was up here shadowing Coach Dean in the coach's box, and he was saying, "Man, I just hope I get a chance to make an impact next season. I want to play against
next season."
He did not realize that it was going to come this early. I like what I've seen so far, but obviously there's a big difference between playing in Division V of the Central Section and playing at pure Bakersfield College.
17-7 is the score, and the 7 that we have is that touchdown that we had from Dalton. A nice dart out to the far side, a great catch, great play. It keeps it within 10. This is Halftime Show brought to you by Red Carpet Halftime Show. I'm Vance Palm. We've got Francis Mayer with us from Bakersfield College. Francis, a couple years ago, Rick Van Horn gave me my Haley Street Heroes. A lot of people have this book, and I looked through it a lot. But one of the beautiful pictures, and I'm going to put this up here, and I know this is somewhat tacky to try to get this in the shot, but it's a beautiful shot of Memorial Stadium when it's being built. Just a classic, beautiful shot of the grounds, and that was 60 years ago. And now, here we are 60 years later, and you think of everything that's happened in this special place. It's not just football. A lot has gone on. Francis, let's dive into the 60-year anniversary of Memorial Stadium.
Let's do it. So Ralph Prater was the president of Bakersfield College in the early 50s, and he was hired by Superintendent McEwen and the Board of Trustees specifically to build and develop this plot of land that they obtained up here on Panorama. And, we look around now, and we could see for miles, and it's a nice, clear night, but there was nothing up here, Vance. And one of the early struggles that President Prater had was whether or not to include, to make this a multi-purpose facility. Now, they wondered whether they should have 15,000 seats or 30,000 seats, so they were very optimistic. But what they didn't know is whether or not to include a track. And President Prater said at the time, all things being equal, if I had enough money, I would have a separate stadia, as he put it, which is apparently, if you have a PhD, that means more than one stadium. We say stadiums, right?
Right. Well,
don't we, VP? We don't say stadii. And luckily, though, he did include a track because we've been host to 5 different CIF state championships, and we owe part of that to our favorable weather, part of it to the fact that this was a world-class track facility for a long time. And then, of course, Jim Ryan set a world record in the mile in 1967. I think it was 3 minutes, 51 seconds, and 7/10 of another second. Mm-hmm. So he set a world record here, and there's a rich track legacy. And then, the Oakland Raiders considered it at one point for their preseason training facility, but they decided to stay up north. And you're right, just a ton of history. The stadium's eyes have seen a lot of amazing things happen. We've had a national championship won here, of course, the J.C. Goodwire National Championship under Coach Bowser in 1988. We had another state championship by poll. We had a state championship that was won on this field in 2012. And we've had, I think, 30 conference championships.
Think about, Francis, all of it, by the way. Fantastic work, brother. You think about all.
I've been living it lately.
Well, and by the way, he's supposed, that halftime. This is normally in his ear because he's handling all of the on-field activities. But we drug him up here tonight to talk about this.
We got Keith Ford too, by the way. Hi, Keith. Thank you.
Well, you look at the other elements of what goes on here on Saturdays. The huge tailgates section out there every Saturday. When we had our state championship game in 2012, people came in from San Francisco City and they were looking at this. They were going, "You got to be kidding me, man. This is big time."
Well, and Coach Judy loves to tell me this story, and I make him tell me like a little child on Christmas Eve. I'm like, "Uncle Jeff, please tell me the story of when San Francisco got scared because their bus driver took a wrong turn, and he has to lap the parking lot twice, and they saw the Renegade Faithful, and San Francisco City College, they'd never seen anything like that before. Coach Judy says it was a 2-score advantage in that game.
Wow.
They were rattled. VP.
We're speaking with Francis Mayer, the Sports Information Director for Bakersfield College. He also has his own show on BC every Thursday. Francis, this 60-year anniversary, think of the numbers, the numerology of all of the human beings that have driven by and passed by this great, iconic spot over the years. When you're driving on Highway 58, you can look up and look at it as a landmark to see these lights right here. A real special place. I appreciate you coming up here and spending some time with us. What about this facility for another 60 years? Are we looking down the road for any more concerts? I know we've got women's soccer in here now. There are opportunities for this venue to even grow even further.
There are. We have Mary Jo Pasek coming up, managing the facilities and the rentals, of course, and we have a lot of people interested in using this facility. This is the first year that a women's soccer team at Bakersfield College is playing all of their home games on this pitch. That's what you call a field in soccer, Vance.
This pitch in the Stadii is about as good as it gets. Francis, thank you, bro. I know you've still got a lot going on tonight.
Absolutely.
On behalf of everybody on our production squad up here, we appreciate everything you do for us. Thanks, bro. Thanks for the insight. Have a great rest of the night.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Francis Mayer back in a moment here. Halftime, Renegades trail 17-7 back after this.